last night I drove around the city because Mayor Lesser went on CNN and said that he wants to get the United Nations up here to help with the crisis. Well, I wanted to make sure that there was, the sky was falling and the city was burning down, and it really was a crisis. Well, I'm here to tell you, um, it's definitely not as bad as what they're saying. Uh, I don't know. You can look at the videos yourself and make the determination. Better yet, you can come down here to El Paso and see that everything's fine yourself. Uh, Anyways, I went down overland. I saw the 100 people camped out there. Most of them were grown men and women. I went down to the airport and saw that that's where they were housing the young kids and children. And let me tell you, guys, they put these people in the most high visibility spots that you could imagine. If you are going to El Paso for any reason, or if you're leaving El Paso, you're going to see these people in the airport. Anybody going to the airport or coming out of the airport is going to see these people. It's high visibility on the most traffic day, on the highest traffic part of the year, Christmas time. So they put these people right where everyone can see them. And I didn't see a whole lot, definitely not thousands like they were saying. Now, granted, I mean, obviously, as they come in, they go somewhere else. But to say that it is a state of emergency, to say that we can't handle this influx, to me, personally, is just ridiculous. If you are in control of $500 million, like the city of El Paso is, and you're so incompetent that you can't put up a few tents, a few porta potties, and get somebody to empty out the porta potties every once in a while, you ought to resign. You ought to resign. I mean, it wouldn't cost more than 25 grand to get enough tents up and to get a couple porta potties together to take care of this situation. And to be honest with you, I don't even think it's that big of a deal as it is right now. Now, I'm not saying it can't get out of control, because, yeah, it could definitely get out of control. If Title 42 is gotten rid of and you've got swarms and swarms and swarms, I mean, like thousands upon thousands coming in at every second or every day, then yeah, it's going to be terrible. But to say that we need the United Nations for this, we can't take care of it on our own, that is outrageous. It is an outrageous statement to say such a thing. But anyways, I'm just here to tell you what I'm seeing. I'm calling it like I see it. What they want is any justification that they can come up with to get the United Nations here. And this is what they're doing. It's all for show. And everybody's playing right into their hands. That's what I don't understand. Guys, I live here in El Paso, right? We go shopping every day. We're driving around every day. It's the sky's not falling. This is not a state of emergency, right? This is not like a humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. This is not like humanitarian crisis in Syria. It's not like that. It's not like that. These are not like a million refugees all at the same time. Guys, I'm telling you, I was there. I walked up and down the streets. The people are not shooting up. They're not doing drugs. To say it's like Skid Row, to me personally, is outrageous. And if you, like I said, if you cannot take care of this situation and you are responsible for millions and millions of dollars, and you can't put $25,000 aside to set up a couple military tents and some porta potties, you are incompetent and you ought to resign. Oscar Lesser said he wants to get the United Nations involved for this. I'm sorry, this is obviously this is not a situation that any of us want. It's definitely not. We want secure borders. They ought not to be able to get through in these numbers. But the fact of the matter is, there are not so many of them that the sky has fallen, that it's a state of emergency in El Paso. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I drive around the city every single day, and to say that we need the United Nations here, it's just ridiculous. It's obvious to me. I mean, they are putting these migrants in the most high visibility spots that you can think of. Anybody going to the convention center is going to see these migrants camped out. Anybody leaving or going to the airport is going to see the migrants there. I mean, they couldn't put them anywhere else. 150 migrants, literally, that's about what I see. You go watch the videos that I posted last night. You know, I mean, I took video of them on Overland. I took video of them in the airport, and that's what you got. That's what you got. Now, when I went down there last night, I expected to see, hordes. I expected to see thousands and thousands. That's not the case. And I got to call it like I see it, man. Otherwise, I'd be lying to you. And that's not what I do here. I'm not making this channel for you guys just so that I can be a part of the hype. It's not, it's not a state of emergency. It's not. And to say that it is, and you can't take care of it on your own, Oscar Lesser is incompetent for that. He is incompetent. It wouldn't cost, like I said, it wouldn't cost more than 25 grand to get a few military tents, set them up, and put a few porta potties and maybe some stoves, some hot, some heaters in some tent stoves in there to keep the people warm. I mean, and that's if you want to even do that, because most of the people all of the people that I saw out on the streets, they're all adults. Every single one of them's an adult. And I hate to break it to you, but adults are sleeping on the streets in the United States every day. Hundreds of thousands of adults every day on the streets in the United States. Adding a few hundred here in El Paso, I hate to break it to you, that's not a state of emergency. These adults of their own free will decided that they were willing to come up here with no place to go, no money in their pocket, and sleep on the streets during the cold. So I'm sorry, but that was their own choice. They're adults. Let them deal with the decision that they made, right? I mean, first of all, we ought to have sent them back, but we didn't do that. But to say that we need the United Nations here for that, no. Sorry, guys. The system here, the infrastructure here in El Paso, from what I saw last night, is definitely big enough to handle these people. Definitely big enough. If they get out of control, which they're not, if they get out of control, we got enough police to lock them up and send them back. We've got the capability to do that. Now, maybe there's something I'm not seeing, but guys, I'm calling it like it is. I'm telling you as I see it. And, to me, this is nothing more than just an excuse to try to get the United Nations here to make us cede our rights, and that's just what it seems like. I mean, for crying out loud, everybody knows George Soros is shipping these people up here, right? And all these people in positions of power in Democrat cities, they were put in power by the guy. I mean, the guy financed their campaign, right? And now they're just going along with the script. They're getting all these migrants in place for all the cameras to see, to make it to make you feel like it's overwhelming, when in reality it's not. It's not. Now, am I saying that it cannot be it cannot become a crisis? No, it can. Like I said, I mean, if they get thousands and thousands and thousands more in each city, not spread out through the United States, 1 and 2 here and there, but if it actually does become like Skid Row, I mean, if these people actually do start committing violence like crazy, then yeah, it's a state of emergency. But still, do we need the United Nations? No, we don't. And why don't we? Because there are 80 million gun owners in this country. That's quite a bit. We could take care of ourselves. We ought not to have to do that. They ought to secure the border. But, the real crisis at the border is all the fentanyl coming through. That's actually killing people every day. All the children that are being trafficked by HHS, like Project Veritas blew the lid off of the other day. That is the real crisis down here. But to say that, 100 adults sleeping in front of the convention center where everybody can see them is a crisis, you got to be out of your mind. You got to be out of your mind. And like I said, when I went down there last night and I was I drove around up and down the streets, man. I drove up and down the streets looking for a state of emergency, okay? Expecting to see some hordes and hordes of people. I saw one street, Overland, right in front of the convention center with maybe 100 adults sleeping on the streets. And then when I went to the airport, there was like 50 adults with children. All the children were but they were put in the airport where everyone can see them. As the planes are unloading, everybody has to walk past these migrants and see them. And here's the thing. I went up and down the aisles where those migrants were sleeping. Nobody said no. Usually, if you try to take video or camera footage of something like that, they stop you. But the security guards were right there. Nobody was saying a thing. They were all just like, come on in, take pictures, take videos. This is what they want. They want everybody to see it. Why? So that they can justify the United Nations coming in here. It's just so blatantly obvious. And we can't take care of these people. We don't have 25 grand for some tents. We don't have 25 grand for a couple porta potties. Outrageous. Anyways, guys, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I'm just calling it like I see it. I personally think all the other people that came down here and made it seem like, oh, this is a big deal. This is the sky's falling. State of emergency in El Paso. They're playing into it, man. They're playing into the narrative, and I'm not going to play into the narrative. I'm not going to be part of the reason why the United Nations comes here and says, look, Uncommon News said it himself. It's a state of emergency. Look, he said it. The El Paso PD is not able to handle it. Texas state troopers aren't able to handle it. National Guard can't take care of the situation. Hell, Oscar Lesser doesn't know how to set up a few tents and a few porta potties. So I guess the United Nations has to come in and do it. No, why? So that they can tell you can't have your gun. It's such a crisis that we got to suspend your Second Amendment for just for a short amount of time, just 2 weeks to slow the spread. We got to suspend your Second Amendment just for 2 weeks until we take care of this humanitarian crisis. I'm sorry, kiss my ass. We don't need no blue helmets here. All right, and mark my words, that's exactly what they're going to want to do. They're going to want to suspend your rights just for a short amount of time, right? Just for long enough so that they can take care of this situation, right? So, anyways, the World Economic Forum is very clear. They think everybody ought to have a digital ID, not just any digital ID, but a biosignature verification. They want to be able to verify your body data, your biosignature. All right, that's what's going on with all this fraud in the election. They're going to say, oh, we don't have good enough verification on these election ballots. So what we need to do is everybody needs to get a digital ID based on blockchain that verifies your bio data, so we know exactly who voted, when, and where. It's all part of the script, guys. So pay very close attention to what happens in Phoenix, because Carrie Lake herself said after all said and done in Phoenix, she's going to be fighting strong and hard for real ID at the ballots, and the real ID that they're pushing, AT&T is pushing, ID.me is pushing, World Economic Forum is pushing, is a blockchain-based digital ID. And you guys saw that video that I did with Greg Zanetti at the beginning of the month, where he was basically shilling for Microsoft, and it sounded like Bill Gates was his idol. He wanted to use a biosignature verified ID, just like Bill Gates' patent 2060606. So it's all coming down to, they want to put a chip in you, right? They want to take your rights. They've got to create a crisis to do that, and this is their this a year and a half ago. When I did my videos on the border, when I talked about the Chinese practicing English, during that United Nations training exercise, and here it is a year later. So, anyways, I gotta go to Tractor Supply and I gotta get some hay for my donkeys. But thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening, and as always, don't forget, help out your neighbors. Bye.